everybody.
Hello.
Come and sit up straight. And join class. Draw your spine straight. You've got to get the spine and the side ribs to lift up, sides of the neck to lift. You need to move after that lift. You need to slide this shoulder girdle from front to back so that when you release the limb, the whole limb, away from the spine, away from the neck, that back of the shoulder can also release, not just the front. You have to bring that arm bone back. And the back of the shoulder is almost your entire back, is almost the surface, the entire surface of your back. So letting those shoulders come down is felt down the shoulder blade, down the side ribs. Close your eyes. Relax the legs. When you join your palms, preserve that length and directionality in the back shoulders. So as the palms come up in front, keep the back descended. Soften the breath. Being still and quiet for these few moments. Pay homage to this practice and to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow your head. Release your hands. Raise your head. Open your eyes. First pose, Adho Mukha Virasana. So watch for one bit. When you go in, we usually go in, very straightforwardly, sit on the heels and fold forward. So the trouble comes in when there's limitations in the mobility of the pelvis. And if you go more forward, things happen like the hips come up as the head goes down. So first requirement is keep these thighs on the heels. We always say that. Okay, the way you're going to go forward with the trunk now, thighs on heels or thighs on blankets, but they must be grounded. This pelvis here, you see my pelvis, it's at this angle. It's not flat and it's not vertical, but it's like 45 degrees if you see it. So when I come forward, it actually doesn't change. Do you see that? I need for this sacrum to lengthen forward. I need this bone not to shove down toward the floor, but to lengthen toward my head, lengthen toward your head. So look, I'm lifting my trunk up and I'm moving that pelvis long. Work from, go ahead, you go. Buttocks to heels, if at all possible, knees apart. And you go forward, rest your head, observe where you are, knees apart, reach one hand back, one hand forward, one hand back. So some of you can feel that that sacrum is close to horizontal. Some of you will feel it a bit tilted toward the tailbone, some a lot tilted. So you can keep that hand on your back and use the fingers right around the tailbone edge, not the top sacrum, but the bottom sacrum. Draw those muscles forward towards your head. Keep your buttock bones down and lengthen the buttock muscle toward the top sacrum. If you get it, I'm asking you to lengthen the pelvis muscles, buttock muscles, before you lengthen the spine muscles. So if I were coming to help you, I would take your top hip blades right next to your low back. I'd put my hands on those top hip blades and I would move them not toward the floor, but toward your head. Yes, Leanne, drag those muscles. It should feel pleasant. It should feel like a release in something. Sit up for a second. Do you at least understand how this muscle from here to here has to lengthen? It isn't just your back that pulls forward in this pose. This is key. And a lot of people who are tight in the hips and in forward bends try to move from everywhere else. This gets us in trouble in the hamstring. Come to Uttanasana with bricks under the hands. Do any of you have a sandbag? A sandbag, one sandbag if you've got it. If you don't, you can still use your hands. It'll just be different. Okay. So no sandbag for the moment. Watch, just watch. When you go into a forward bend, it very much looks like you folded the hip joint. And this pelvis turns as much as it can. And when it can't turn anymore, the spine goes round and the hands go to the floor. So if the teacher then really wants you to go much bigger in the forward bend, how does that happen? I want to tell you that you should not overwork the hamstrings. You keep that buttock bone and the hamstring attached to each other. Don't try to shove them apart. Let that buttock bone, which is right at this level, let that buttock bone stay attached to the thigh, just like in the folded pose. Then from the buttock bone, lengthen the buttock muscle to the top pelvis. Nobody is saying move your buttock bones. What they're saying is lengthen from the buttock bone to the top pelvis. Go forward. Did you see what I was pointing at? Keep your mind and your senses focused. Go forward to your bricks. Sandbag, not yet. Okay, same pose. Now, of course, you stretch the legs straight. Now, stretch it, just keeping conscious that there's a certain distance and you're pretty much keeping it between the buttock bone and the hamstring. And you lengthen that thigh toward the hip. So if anything, the muscle is spreading toward the buttock bone. Stretch your legs. Now, to get that spine to come down, it doesn't matter whether your hands are supported, but first, release the abdomen. Soften the abdomen. And now when you come forward, keep your buttock bones fixed and take one or both hands to the top pelvis, not low back, but top actual pelvis bones, buttock muscle, and lengthen that buttock muscle toward your head. Keep the buttock bone attached to the heel. Draw that length of the buttock muscle towards your head. Now release your hands down and inwardly keep that happening. Let the spine, all vertebrae, lengthen. Okay. You have some sensations. Good. Hands to the hips. Keep the buttock bones rolling toward the heels. Inhale, come up. Now watch. Here's your sandbag, if you have it. If you don't have it, you could find a different kind of weight. This is, here, make it easy, just 2 blankets, okay? I'll do it with sandbags. A sandbag. Put a sandbag, evenly distributed weight across your back hips. And you go forward, keeping that sandbag sort of pinned to the bottom sacrum. And you go forward, your hands are holding. And you slowly, after you get down, you arrange it. You arrange it so that it is dragging toward your hamstrings. If you move it this way, it'll drag towards your head. Drag instead toward the hamstrings. Okay, so it's perched at the high point of the pelvis. And away from that, see how the Uttanasana goes. Pratima, move the sandbag further back. Gay, move the sandbag further back, really further back. It's got to feel like it's on your tailbone. Pratima, yeah, much further back, Pratima. Keep going. Yes, it's not quite falling off, but going straight down. So what you should feel even further back, Chaya, further back. Yes, yes. So it feels like it's telling your tailbone and your buttock bones to go to the floor. And that top sacrum relaxes toward the head. Now, to come out, take that weight or the blankets and hold them, drop. Before you come up, you can slide this to the floor and then come up. Okay. Did the sandbag weight make any difference in the way you could release that pelvis? Yes. Okay. A positive ability to kind of let it lengthen. So try it's very hard to do it yourself in dog. Sorry. Let's go back to Adho Mukha Virasana for a moment. Watch. Here's your sandbag. Now, your pose is maybe your head comes to rest on the floor, or maybe it needs support. Okay. Your Adho Mukha Virasana needs support under the head. Here's your sandbag. It's now on my back, and I'm holding it with my hands, right? I'm either holding the bag or the handle. And it's against my middle back thoracic. And I go forward, and now it's resting there. Now it's on the thoracic, it's on not the lumbars. And I go forward. So the point of this is, well, I hope you feel it. It just helps that spine settle. Okay. Now, take it a little bit lower down, away from the skull. Some of you have it pretty close to the skull. Yeah, don't get it quite on the lumbars, but there's this happy place there where it's helping that spine just subside. It. Stretch your arms, knees apart, as usual, knees apart, buttocks resting. This sandbag should in no way be dragging your buttocks off the heels. Instead, it should be settling you a bit flatter. Now, slide it down your back as you sit up and off, down the back and off, and sit up. Now, was that not pleasant also? Okay, if it was not, don't do it again. Now, I want to see if that feeling of this being long and this being long and settled can feed its way into Adhasvanasana. So that actually means these buttock bones have to keep lengthening away from this low back. You have to keep that sense of length. You have to keep that sense that the buttock bone and hamstring travel together. That middle spine can be settled in. That all of the back shoulder girdle can stream toward the buttock bones. Stretch back. Stretch the legs. and come out. So let's see. I'm gonna bring a sticky mat right up to the wall. And then I want to get 2 bricks, preferably 4 bricks, 1, 2, 2 stacks of 2. I'm going to move this closer so you might see a little bit better. Stack of, where are they? 4 bricks if you can get them. 2 2s. If you don't have 4 bricks, just take 2. The height is good. Whatever height you can manage is good. 2 2s or 2 1s. Okay. So what I want to do is pull out the length of the spine more. Normal dog pose length. Put your feet up so the base joint is on the edge of that brick. Those 2 bricks, by the way, are shoulder width. And then you bring your feet up. If you see, my heels are not on the wall. Base joints down. And I'm going up. I'm going up with the buttock bones and the length of the spine. As high as possible. Up, up, up hips, up trunk. Raise the heels up. Yes. If the block isn't high enough, I mean, it isn't. That's the given. Raise your heels. Get your hips as high as possible. And it causes you, I hope you feel this, to stretch through the trunk. Come out for a moment. Watch. Now that was sort of ordinary dog pose length here. But I want you to walk in and go up. Okay, so it's no longer dog pose. You are in some fashion approaching Uttanasana. Now you could walk in with your hands the way I did. You can also just place your hands first and then step up. This is your shoulders, your strength. Okay, go close in or closer in. Don't let those shoulders come forward. Stretch up, raise your heels. Go up, go long through those armpits. Raise your heels. Heels, heels, heels. Lift your hips. Raising the heels, lengthen that spine. Open the armpits. Go up. Come out. Rest. I'm laughing because my vocal is go up. Okay. Was that fun? No, that was not fun. Go back toward ordinary dog pose with these feet elevated. So look, when When the pitch of my voice went up, go up. I mean, take your heels up, up, up. Okay, this is up. This is just up. This is up. Okay, so part 2. Feet together, bricks together, same pose. And watch, you have to go up, up. Then one foot goes in the center and the other leg goes to the wall and up, up, maybe up, up. Go up. Raise the heel. You're on the pointy point of your base joint. The metatarsals are vertical. Your toes hang off the front of the brick and your heel sits vertically up. Now push that top heel up the wall, top leg up. Up higher. Get away from the wall if you can stretch it up higher. Up. Hips up, heel up, up. Come out, change sides before you lose your strength. Toes hang off the front edge of the brick, base joints perch on that front edge, leg straight, other leg up, up, hips up, heel up, both heels up, way up. Get taller. Make your pelvis longer. Raise those hips level. Pratima, level hips. Raise the lifted leg hip. Left hip must rise up level with the right. And come out. This is improving K. It's getting open in the chest more. It's hard work. It's hard work. Rest. Just rest. Your resting position could be Adho Mukha Virasana, but might be more pleasant in Uttanasana. Okay, so let me show you one other interesting thing about that up direction. Here's 2 bricks, slightly apart for an Uttanasana with the feet slightly apart. So you just put these bricks underneath your slightly apart feet. And make sure your heel is on the brick. If the brick is just a tad short for the length of your foot, it's okay if your toes hang off the front edge, but it's not okay if the heel hangs off the back edge. So ground your heels and the base joints. Make your feet parallel. Tether your buttocks to the hamstrings and go forward. Now, because of this, your hips are higher. Your hips are already up. See how your forward bend comes. Is it not interesting? There's more forward bend happening. Do you notice? Yes. The stiffness, Vidya, is less. It's just fascinating. Keep the heels grounded. Keep that sense of height. And let there be a mental sandbag on the base of the pelvis that anchors it, steadies it, releases it toward the head. Yes. Good. Now, if you have balance, you can stand up. Otherwise, step down and then stand up. Okay. So now, show of hands, didn't that release something in the forward bend? Okay. And it's kind of, I think, psychological, because nothing else is going on. Right? Your feet, your legs are still the same length. Your anatomy is still the same anatomy. See how I'm holding the wall with my hands as I come forward. This keeps me oriented. So you come up the same way. Touch that wall behind you. Separate your feet, comfortable hip width. Back of the chair touches the wall. Chair is level. You stand on the front edge. Step up, hold the wall. Go forward. You get a 4-point contact the whole way down. Walk down the wall, walk down the chair. Feet stable, eyes open as long as you like. Now, buttocks off the wall, legs vertical. Feel the weight going into the chair. You could keep your feet together, but I'm suggesting they stay apart. The forward bend comes more easily with the feet apart. Now, I imagine at this point there isn't fear. Don't close your eyes. So with this height, how does the forward bend go? What's interesting about this is that the floor doesn't really exist for the arms. It exists wherever you put it, but those front chair legs, Leanne, yes, and Pratima, you're getting some extra lovely extension. Yes, Chaya. Okay. Now, don't over pull, right? Don't keep yanking down the front chair legs. There has to be an inward release toward the hands, not a yank at this point. Can we release and come up? Keep your eyes open. Take your hands to the wall. Inhale, come up and step down. Now, using the chair is when you're doing very deep forward bends is just wonderful. I don't know if you got a kick out of being on the chair. Was it just scary or was it useful? Useful. Okay. Okay. So let's think about this. You come forward with the hands on the floor, raise the heels, take the right leg up, be high on the left heel. Take the right leg up and see if you can fold forward. And then come out, be up high in the heel. Raise the other leg, stretch it completely, and see if you can fold forward. Okay, so this is rise up off that heel. Now, if you can't rise up off the heel, then put your foot on a brick. Raise that standing heel so the hips come way up. And raise that lifted leg. Move your hands forward, Vidya. Halfway to dog pose. Raise your heels. Then the leg comes up. You got to get the hips up, heels up, and the leg up. Yes, yes, that is correct, Gay. You could open up the space more, foot to hands. Don't bend your elbows, Leanne, unless you're genuinely standing on that leg. I can't see from my ankle. Please rest for a bit and change sides. And again, once again, I'm hoping the lift of the hips. Vidya, if your hands can go to the floor, this would be better. So stay in dog pose. Yes, now, relatively speaking, the hips are up. Yeah? Okay, change sides. Hips gotta be far away from the hands. Up, up, up. If you want to touch that wall, Gay, you're allowed to, but you can't push into the shoulders. You have to use that wall to make the hips come up. No, up. That's the word. Hips level, come out. So some of you appear to be stronger on one side in the lifting than the other side. You gotta, like a favorite. No favorites. Okay, so let's see, 440. All right. The only thing about the whoever does headstand, then consider the way of going into headstand should be from the point of view of the lengthening of these groins. So even if you're just doing preparation, groins go up, you walk in, go up, raise the leg, go up, groins, brings you into Shirshasana, is the lift through that inner thigh and groin. That's what brings you there. So if you are doing preparation, you would do it that way, with the head on the floor or not. You come up, you come way up off your heels and raise a leg and go up. Now, I'm going to suggest that those who are stiffer put up and come on back down, Pratima, and take the other leg up the very same way. So I want you to go up and down, either fully into headstand or just as preparation. Each leg needs to go up. Each leg needs to be the down leg, each leg the up leg. Watch out, Gay, for the leftward drift of the feet. Keep that left elbow in. Make sure your elbows are even. Lift carefully from those groins. Go up high through the heel. Some of you are doing this by swinging. I want you to go up, whether you're moving fast or slow, go up from the depth of the groin, depth of the top thigh. And after you give it an equal time to both sides, if you're in Shirshasana, be there for a few minutes, still keeping the length in the buttock. Yes, now pin those heels, Gay, exactly where they are. Don't let them shift. Your left elbow went wide again. I'm not sure how or why, but you see it's loose on the floor. Press it down. And the rest of you may rest or take dog pose just to open up those shoulders if there's any extra tension. Keep those feet there, Gay. It's good. What I see is your that must be, it's this. It's this. Now, I can't tell which camera I'm looking at. This arm is the one that tends to go out. You tend to drift to this side. That seems like the right side. Your right leg is rolling out, Gay. Roll the right thigh in. So your contact with the wall is through the inner heel, not the outer. Okay. Time to come out. Rest the head. And of course, come out the way you went in. Keep the lift. Keep the lift. Take the customary steps to release that neck and shoulder. Then, when you have rested, you may need a strap. You may need a chair. That sandbag might come in handy. And blankets, we're going to some seated forward bends. So you would sit Upavishta Konasana, seated ankle pose. Stretch your legs, point your toes straight up to the ceiling. This section of heel and ankle here should not be shrunken and shortened. It should be pushed out and lengthened. Open that inner portion of the heel. Stretch your legs. Now, we've been spending time making sure that the butt bone stays tethered to the hamstring. Keep that happening. Buttock bone stays on the floor. It's not trying to roll up that buttock bone. Yet the top pelvis, this top part, not the bottom part, the top part is coming up. That buttock muscle has to lengthen. In this pose, it means let your buttock muscle go. Let it relax. Okay. Go toward the right. As you go toward the right, this left side of your back starts getting longer and the right side feels a little concave, little short. From the groins, lengthen and turn. So here's the navel, right here where pants and shirt come together is my navel. It's got a right side and a left side. Lengthen the two sides of that navel equally. And if you can, reach for your foot. If you are very stiff, you will bring the chair in and reach for the chair seat. In reaching for the chair seat, reach directly on top of the foot, opposite hand, opposite hand. Okay. So you feel a deep stretch on the left side of the spine. Your left lung is puffy, the left waist is puffy, the right waist and lung are not. Can you shift your breath to the right side of the navel, right pelvis, right lung? The way you equalize the two sides of the rib cage is not by shoving the ribs, but work through breath plus ribs. Come up. The first layer, of course, is muscles and bones. But feel where you are and how you're working through that second layer, breath layer. Turn, notice asymmetries coming into the two sides of not just this muscle and skeleton shape, but also the breath. Come out and over, catching the left leg, bracing with the left hand, reaching the right. Lengthen the right buttock. Notice the deep stretch through that whole right side. The comparative shortening of the left. Adjust your breath, make way with the breath for the movement of those ribs from the right to the left. And extend as far into the forward bend as you like, but keep those right ribs moving toward the left, making the breath equal. Look at that navel region in particular. Now come up. Now I'm going to show you from the side so you see about going farther. So I'm going to turn toward this leg so you can observe the back. So here I am turning and you can see through my shirt all that's happening. This side is getting stretched. This side, I guess I'll turn more. Now I can't see myself, but I can feel what's happening. I'm going to go this way. All right, now you'll see everything. See how this side curves, see how this side gets concave. And I go and I see if I can fix things. And you do see some fix, yes? From this to this, you can see a difference, okay? but I'm going to try to go farther. Now, I don't want to curl. I want to keep that extension, but watch this hand. Instead of being on top, it's now going past, and it's keeping on going. And I'm trying to move these back ribs more deeply in and lengthening this side also. And from there, I tried to come to the full, whatever that means, the fullest Parshva Upavishta Konasana. So I'm asking you to stretch. Now you can be on top of that chair and do the same thing. You can absolutely, you just go a little bit past your leg on the top of the chair. Relax that left, nope, other elbow, Leanne. Other, yes, yes. Lift your trunk, left ribs. Some of you are going to the left, and it's the puffy ribs, the ribs of the side you're going away from. They have to come in and up, and it's acting like a twist to get that length out of the lower spine. And equally in the ribs go into the forward bend. Now, Leanne, catch your foot with two hands. Yeah, take the whole pose, and you'll feel you're pretty straight over that leg, right? The navel is pretty over that leg. That's what we're after here, is that inner body completion. Come out slowly. Okay. Sit up straight for a moment and even yourself out, right? That was a big stretch. Don't go too widely and keep yourself, if you go too wide, it's much harder to adjust this low back to evenness. So it's not that 180 degrees is better than 110 degrees. It's not. Go to your second side. Stay up, get long, release the buttock section of the pose, and stretch that. Now it is the right arm going left, I think. For most of you, it doesn't matter. Second side. Now you got to come up tall and long, Leanne. Tall and long, tall and long, tall and long. Come up. And cross over. And it's just the elbow that comes down at first. Your trunk is staying up and long. Okay, and that abdomen comes out. Keep turning, get crossover. Yes. And your belly, Leanne, when you get deep in the forward bend, your belly gets long against your thigh. And that's get as long as you can there, and catch with two hands and complete the pose. And in some fashion, all of you should have made some progress toward being over that leg and equal in the two sides. Make sure that right buttock is long, right hip socket down. And come up slowly. Now, let your feet from Upavishta Konasana, let your feet come to a long, open Baddha Konasana. See how far away my feet are. How far away are they? If you're stiff, you place a blanket or two, or a thick blanket here. If you're not stiff, you leave it as is. The distance is where your forehead, this forehead right here, will fit right into the arch of the feet. Now, when you do this, rules are the same. Those buttock bones stay anchored to the hamstrings, but all of this musculature, all of it lengthens. This side hip muscle, side buttock muscle, has to lengthen. It can't all go to the lumbar. Lengthen that sacrum. Put a brick on top of those feet, blanket and brick if you need it. If your head rests comfortably, take. Get comfy for a bit. Breathe. Then come up. Stretch your legs straight. So we're making, you're going to come to Pashimottanasana, but you're going to take a long path. You may choose, the stiff people, to put blankets. If your sacrum is feeling like it's getting close to enough of this, you can stop. If you just need some support, raise your hips onto some height. And you can, of course, keep with the chair as in front. Okay, so this might be your support if you're stiff and want to keep going for this last forward bend. Otherwise, you're on the floor, like, you know, like usual. So I'll show like this. It's Pashimottanasana, and this is your startup. And you'll go forward. And then you're going to do Pashimottanasana. You're going to shift toward the right side on the chair, or if you're on the floor, it's on the floor with the left hand outside the right leg, extending. And then you come up and then outside the left leg, extending. Your view is you are not going sideways, you're going long. It's just a bit of a diagonal. First to the right, outside the right foot, on the chair, on the floor. You take what gives you length and then come up and stretch side two. Extend. And then come up and go straight forward. So if you're staying with hands on the floor, keep going. If your hands are on the chair, take also your head to the chair. Pashimottanasana. If the head's on the chair, take the arms up the chair so you persist with this length. Stretch the legs equally. Lengthen the buttock muscle. And then come up. Now, we're going to, of course, change gears. We have to change gears. I've got a cat kind of in the way, but I think you'll get this. You're going to lie flat at first on your back, letting these groins lengthen away from the ribs. So you're stretching your leg as if you're opening up this front hip length. Then the arms go overhead, so you're really unfurling from those forward bends. And after a bit, that back thigh lengthens away and you get even more space. Lengthen the pelvis lying on your back. Arms overhead. Come away from that wall, okay, or push only the heel of the hand toward it. It's best if you can stretch your fingers parallel and not have to flatten the palm. So good. Stretch those legs. Now, if they aren't already, join the legs so you feel that extra stretch of the outer leg, outer hip, outer front thigh. Okay, then take a brick, arms down, take a brick, put it underneath. Guess what? That tailbone, lower sacrum, first you'll feel it on the upper sacrum, but as the legs stretch, you'll feel that tailbone end of the sacrum be the main weight-bearing place. The exact same pose, not thinking about a back bend, but thinking about the extension. From pelvis to ribs, take your arms overhead. So the anchoring the pelvis comes from the legs, that deep, long stretch of the leg from the top thigh, back thigh. Lengthen the back thigh. And the pelvis lengthens toward the ribs, long, like always. Those buttock muscles, side buttocks, long. Okay. There is a back bend shape built into this, but it's not so noticeable. Feel it instead as extension. And then come out and shift the brick so it's up one more level. Don't take it tall, just medium height. Bend your knees. Again, the pivot point is the lower sacrum tailbone. So as the legs straighten, you have support. Lift the ribs, extend. The whole deal is extend. Back thighs. The legs can be apart. They can work toward being together. When the legs come together, it's because those pelvic lines are running parallel and not getting squeezed. Shoulders down, throat soft, ribs lifted, each one part of the extension, each and every rib, each and every vertebra. Now, come out. Your next thing is to add more height. Now, logically, you might turn that brick vertically, but I think that's a really big step. And instead, I think you should come out and you need some blanket support underneath your shoulders. And you need 2 bricks. And you need to move the cat. So these 2 bricks are going to stack like this, one flat and one on its edge. Okay. Alternatively, 2 flats that's still a little bit higher than this one on its edge. This is a little bit higher. This is a little bit more. So you can make an increment according to your capacity. 2 flats or 1 flat, 1 on edge. And I'm giving you the extra benefit, and this is helpful, of elevating the shoulders. Some of you, you'll like having the shoulders elevated and the head not. And others will be happy elevating both, okay? So you get 2 flat bricks or 1 flat, 1 on edge. Now, if you know that your flexibility is good with your legs straight, you can take that tall brick. Feel free. But there, of course, there'll be another stage after that. So roll your shoulders now. There's a distinct back bend extension having to come into the pose. So really lift those ribs and extend and get all the length on either side of the navel that you can. Super length. Super length. Then the legs come out. Super navel length. Super duper navel length. Reach the arms toward your feet this time. And stretch that back shoulder. Lift the ribs. Keep space between each and every rib. Each and every centimeter on either side of that navel has to get longer. Your hands can touch your side ribs and encourage them to lift up to the ceiling. And as they lift up to the ceiling, they move away from the hips. Now, Vidya, I think the top brick that you're on is tilting, and that can make the angle of the pelvis feel squinchy. So be cautious about that brick. Please come out slowly. Okay. I hope at the end of that exercise, you felt as if it was improving instead of getting worse. Okay, rest for a moment. Just leave those feet on the floor. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, in just 5 seconds, I'm going to ask you to do the exact same pose again. same height of bricks. Okay, please repeat, because I want you to observe what happens in the repetition. If it was a good pose and your actions were correct, the second time around should feel as good or better. If it went wrong, it might feel creakier. On the other hand, get that bottom brick, Vidya, underneath the top. Yes. Closer in. Yes. That's better. Now, walk your shoulders towards your feet, your back arms towards your feet. Yes. Okay. Be as careful as before you begin to stretch those legs. As careful. So you can't be lazy and expect a good result. Okay. So find out, did you open to this pose or did you close to it? Sides of the navel. Can you open into the ease of this pose any better? Okay, please come out. Be at rest for a few moments. Stabilize the spine. Sacrum. And then be in Shavasana. Sometimes it's pleasant to take that sandbag and put it across the top thighs, right at the hip socket. So it's kind of hip socket, pubis, hip socket, not on the soft part of the belly, but on that bony part, pelvis, hip socket. Now, the other position that might feel just as good or better is just off the pubis, only on the top thigh. So it's working on that side of the hip socket. This is this varies from person to person. You may not like it at all. If there is a weight on the abdomen, it should be small. For instance, just a brick, maybe that's pound and a half. That weight over the navel can really help you sense the release of the sides of the navel, the deflation, the opening. Yes, right over the navel. If it is unpleasant, of course, take it off, but most people find it rather pleasant. It's a way of relaxing a lot of the tension. Just don't make it a heavy weight. Very soothing, releasing that navel region. I hope it helps undo any grips that came into the back today. Now it is the end of class, but you may just be starting to enjoy this. So feel very free to stay put. this observation of the navel region is an important part of practice. Westerners make jokes about it. But it's because they don't understand. So I will say namaskar. You need not respond. I'll see you next time.